Acting Class Weekly with legendary character actor Sean Whalen. Lessons, tips, and insight into the craft and business of acting from a man who's been directed by the likes of Spielberg, Eastwood, Tim Burton, Ang Lee, Michael Bay, Wes Craven, Tom Hanks, and many more of Hollywood's A-list. He is 30 years an actor and your professor, Sean Whalen.
Hello, everybody. Roxy, we always have to talk about the most important thing. Why this look? Tell me why you think this is the look. The jacket, the darker jacket.
Darker jacket, professional. Is this something that you would want to have of you on social media?
No, very good guess.
Okay.
Because you are teaching me, and I feel like this is a nice, solid, if you're my professor, this looks like the good student.
Ooh, you're ready to learn.
The solid student. I'm ready to learn. Why am I talking about learning, folks? Because today, Roxy is going to be taking the meat of the subject matter and talking about how to make social media work for you in your acting career, how to get more visibility, traction, followers, things like that.
All of those things that might sound scary and a lot of people who are artists and performers don't like to do.
Yes.
But fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, it is part of what it means to be a performer in 2020, is having a social media following and presence. And we're going to talk about exactly how to do that.
Exactly how to do this. And my professor today, Miss Phenomenal, Roxy Stryer.
Yes.
In the booth, Mr. Funtabulous, Jeff Graham.
Here and also ready to learn. Roxy, it's interesting. You brought up the fact that whether or not it's really your cup of tea, it's necessary. What's fascinating about you is you're really a creative first and a social media requiree second. You wouldn't be the first person to say you love social media, even though you're very good at it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I definitely have.
It's
I wouldn't
part
even
of
call
the
it a
job.
love-hate relationship with. It's a mostly hate relationship with, but a little bit of love only because what it's been able to do for my career.
It's kind of a lot of people talk about when they have to do press junkets and things like that. It's part of the business.
Right.
Things that you don't necessarily like. Roxy did the breakdown this week. I didn't even have to make the breakdown. It was such a nice little vacation.
Do you see what it says under the breakdown? Sean teases the show.
Sean teases the show. Yeah. I saw that, which I thought was weird. It said, I asked Roxy to break down social media because I think she's great in it. Not only is she great at that, but she's a great human being. She's one of the greatest humans that ever lived. She's beautiful inside and out.
Yes.
And she's better than any human. We should all be grateful for her presence. That seems a
and
little...
bow down.
And bow down. And bow down.
I'm just glad that
bow down.
Thank you for writing that about me, Sean. It was just really beautiful. It meant a lot to me.
She wrote that.
It's fine.
All right, but before we get in, because there's a lot to cover, and I'm excited to cover it.
Yeah.
We have to get into Sean's week. So I think enthusiastic, wanting to learn student vibe, whatever that means to you on the Sean's week. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think Roxy has to have the teacher vibe. Jeff, you and I have to have the excited student vibe on the Sean's week. Does that make sense?
I'm in.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Sean's week. I like it.
I will say it was so much better than last week.
Ooh.
Last week was maybe our worst yet.
And Suba was sitting right there with her, and she was just kind of like, is that, yeah, I felt the confusion.
It was tough.
You know
It was
what I
just
could feel in
oozing
that
out of
moment
her.
from Suba's brain was, what have I done?
What have I done?
What have I gotten
She looked
myself
up at the
into?
clock and goes, I got 43 minutes, and then I'm out. But before we get into that, talking about social media, talking about engagement, Roxy, what should we be telling our people to help with this show?
Well, absolutely. If you guys are watching this on any kind of podcast, because we are everywhere that podcasts are, make sure you subscribe, make sure that you give us that 5-star rating, and leave a comment. We read your comments every single week on this show. We have so much to talk about this week that we will get to those comments next week, but we also take those comments from YouTube. We want to know what you guys want us to talk about, because you're the actors, you're the performers, and Sean's been an actor for 30 years. I'm sure you guys have tons of questions, and we try to address them here on this show. But also, thumbs up over there. Tell a friend. We want to grow this community as much as we can to keep Acting Class Weekly with Sean Whalen here on AfterBuzz TV, alive and well, and with as many people in the community to help each other as possible. So thank you guys so much for listening to the show, for watching the show, for seeing Sean's amazing outfit combinations every single week. It's very important, and we really appreciate you guys. So if you leave a comment this week, I swear to you, next week on the show, if you're on Apple Podcast or on YouTube, I will give you guys shout outs. So leave your comments there, and we'll get to all your questions and love next week. Thanks, guys, for being fans of the show.
Yes. And, okay. So
You're
this
not
is
even a comment.
something
I blew them all a kiss. You didn't even give them any like a hand wave or anything.
I'm way too busy for that.
Oh, okay,
You
good
know what I
point,
mean? No,
yeah.
because it's like the mom and the dad. You know what I mean? You're the sweet mom with the affection.
Ooh, good cop, bad
and
cop.
I'm the
Yeah,
no. The dad who's the pusher and the strength. You have a lot more of the sweetness and the empathy. I have the clean your room.
When you hear pusher,
what I mean?
don't you think of Mean Girls? She's a pusher, Caddy.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Okay.
do. So, listen, this is something I desperately need help with. I have been really pushing Roxy for quite a while
You're
to
a
do
pusher.
this show. I'm a pusher. I was trying to get her to do this, and she was saying, oh, I think we get someone who's bigger. And here's why I don't think so, is because there's a lot of people who, do this and only do this all the time and 90% of their time. Roxy has tons of other things that she's doing, but she's using this to make help and let all the other things rise up because of the attention. I need this kind of help. So that's why I thought you were perfect to do this.
Sean, is that part of like what's been happening in your week this week, where you've been thinking about AfterBuzz stuff? I mean, social media stuff, and that's why you really wanted us to.
You know what?
break this
did
down?
I even
I don't know.
talk about my week?
No,
I
you
don't
said
think I did.
we did Sean's week, and then you said that you
Then I
wanted to
didn't-
hear from the fans. So I just figured, you've had a week where you wanted to share,
There you go.
and you've had a week
and
where
I
you
didn't
want to know
even
about
talk
social
about
media.
my week. I didn't even talk about my
Well,
week.
that's been your week.
There
You've just
you
been
go.
thinking about us so much.
Well, I will give you the brief.
Okay,
I'll
give me
you
the
the brief. I went to look for the location for Crust. I think we found it. Very cool.
Whoa,
Riverside.
whoa.
So cool. I'll send you the video. Very cool.
You haven't already. Yikes.
I know. Well, no. I haven't really locked it down with my producers yet.
I
So
lost the role.
them first. No, them first. Went on that kind of scout. Worked with the fabulous Daria Baronato. Daria Baronato. I said it right. AKA Sonia Deville.
In person this week or
Yes,
Skype? Okay.
in person. We did a coaching on a scene. We also did a meeting where she was going to meet a director, which is really, really great. Now, she said the script she read from this director she wouldn't be allowed to do because of WWE rules. It was a little brutal, a little harsh. And I said, hey, let me
the actual
just...
material
the
of the script,
material
okay.
itself. And I just said, well, maybe we can't meet, because he's kind of busy. Let me leave it up to him. He's like, no, let's please meet. And man, were they turned the lemons into lemonade. I think we all three talked about it. He's a eager writer. And he's my friend Aaron Mento. A shout out to him, who did the movie Ugly Sweater Party, that I am one of the stars of, and on the cover of the DVD. And he talked to her, and they're already putting together a framework to outline a script together. They just enjoyed each
awesome.
other, so it was really proactive on them. And then working on getting my Memphis workshop together down with Forrest Pruitt down at Indie Acting Studio in Memphis for the first time ever. I'm going to do an all-day improv workshop, and that evening, for the first time, we are doing a show. We're going to do an improv show that night with everybody we worked with and learned everything we learned that day. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be March 29th.
And how
So
are you going to tell people about it? You're going to
I'm
social
going
it
to
out.
tell them on social media. Roxy, help me. I'm so
Sorry,
inconsistent.
super quick, guys. Sean, I also have to. Did you see you were on Bleacher Report this week too? I just wanted to shout you out.
Oh, shout me out.
Daria gave you some love on Bleacher Report.
I
Big
did not know
interview.
that.
Yeah, so I'm just, if any of you guys
Damn.
unqualifiedly doubt Sean's ability to be a great acting coach, Daria said to Bleacher Report, I'm taking acting classes currently with Sean Whalen via FaceTime or when I'm out in LA, and he's been incredible with helping me on the next journey in my life.
Wow.
You have no Google alert set to your name?
You need a Google alert.
Oh, I don't know that. So I don't know. No, the answer is no.
All right, well, we can work on
That's
that's a
something
whole
else.
other show.
That's
yeah,
a
set
whole
Google
other
alerts to
show.
yourself. You want to know
That's
when you're popping
fantastic.
up. Bleacher
That- what
Report's
a-
huge, Sean.
That's cool.
Yay, Daria. Yay, Sean.
I didn't know that. Thank you very, very much.
The only bummer about it is that I had such an amazing segue about the socialing it
Yeah,
out.
I
and then,
ruined it.
like, I'm glad Jeff did give that call out, but
Right.
also, it's just like, I was
Welcome to
really-
my world.
yeah.
Yes, and yes, and yes, and. So,
So,
listen,
John-
help me. I'm
Right.
inconsistent. I
will help you. I will
Yes.
help you. But for just a little bit about me, because you guys know me as the co-host of Acting Class
Yeah, we
Weekly.
need to know, why are you doing this?
And in case you don't know, and none of this is to brag, it's just to tell you who you're learning from.
Right.
Which is somebody who, like Jeff said, when I started, I really, really disliked social media. I didn't like how time-consuming it was. I wasn't seeing a lot of growth at the beginning. I didn't know what to post about. It felt strange to post pictures of yourself all of the time and what that really meant. But after being on these social media apps for the better part of a decade, since a lot of them have started, I now have 35,000 followers on Twitter, a little over that, which is great. On Instagram, 28,000. And I did something amazing on Instagram this last year that I'm going to teach you guys about, which is how I doubled my Instagram following in a year.
Incredible.
And I've got thousands on Facebook. So I've got a page with 3,000, a fan page with 1.6 thousand, another fan run page with 1.3, and all of that stuff. And then also YouTube, which some people consider social media, some people don't necessarily, but it is part of it. I have almost 20,000 subscribers over there. So all of those things help feed each other, obviously, because you can use each one as a tool to promote the other ones. But I definitely think that those have been great for helping me book work and also for helping me make side finances, which is what actors are trying to do, make money while they sleep a lot of the time.
Wouldn't that be nice
ways.
to be promoting yourself instead of promoting someone else's restaurant by serving food?
Very, very true. Very, very true. So there are a lot of social media platforms, like I just mentioned with YouTube. Sometimes you don't even think of something as a social media platform. We're not going to be able to fully dive into every one of them today because that, people teach week-long courses on each of these. But we're definitely going to focus today mainly on Instagram and Twitter. Those are the two that I find to be the most helpful as an actor. But I did just want to touch upon a couple of them briefly, Sean, so people know what's out there if they are looking for alternative forms of social media as actors and how you can use those to be helpful. TikTok. TikTok is this form of social media that I know it sounds scary to me too as a millennial. This is like a Gen Z strong social media right now, but it is growing and every major celebrity is on it.
I'm actually meeting with someone next week and I'm going to probably have her on the show.
Great.
She was a stand-up comedian who did a thing called Eat It Katie about her doing food. And guys, she's making a decent wage every month.
Via TikTok?
Via TikTok. And I looked at her. She doesn't even have a ton of, it doesn't have hundreds of thousands on each post. So it's really great.
It's a great way. And like I said, all the celebrities, Courtney Cox is now really...
Reese Witherspoon, I've seen. I've been watching because me and my daughter are going to start. Me and Amy
you
are
have
starting,
to. Because you have to be familiar with the platforms that are out there. And also as a content creator, which hopefully everybody listening to this is, it is a way to showcase yourself on video, not just via words or image. This is actually like 60 seconds or less videos that you're putting out there. So if you're a comedian, this is really great for you. Kind of similar to when Vine was starting, but that was 6 seconds or less. Now this gives you a little more time to really express yourself.
What is the time limit? Do you know?
60 seconds.
60 seconds,
60 seconds or less. So I think it's between 15 and 60 seconds that these videos are. And you can really do a lot with them. So I remember when Periscope first came out, this was another video platform. What I will say is I got on that app very early in the early stages. And so I was able to do incredibly well on Periscope because now Periscope is not the place to be. But at that time, I was getting thousands of people watching me because I was just one of the earlier people there. So TikTok is still in early enough phases that you could be like that. So get on TikTok if you're not already.
I'm doing that with my daughter Amy, and she's already told me. I was like, I have these ideas, and she goes, not funny, not funny. We're going to come up with something better.
It's actually one of the reasons why our founder, Keven Undergaro, always talks about how important it is to hang out with people of different ages than you. Older, younger, and everywhere in between, because you want to know what are different demos looking at. And we will be talking about demos in a second. But Facebook's another great one. Sean, I know this is one that you've really excelled in.
Because the demographic that I have the most of is Midwest, middle class horror fans. That's where I kind of broke in. I didn't even know it. I told you that story. I just got tons of friend requests, and my friend goes, those are your fans. Once I did all that, opened up the doors to horror conventions, to horror directors, and kind of opened up that world. So that's what I'm doing. I had 2 friend pages, but they maxed out at 5,000. I didn't know what to do. Shutting one of those down and keeping my friends and family one, shutting one of those down and just going back to a like page, like a business page, where I can still interact. Basically, I can do everything I did and interact the same way. I just don't see your feeds.
And what's great about Facebook is that it kind of combines the best parts of Instagram and Twitter, where
Right.
you can both be verbal and you can have video and images. You can do all of those things.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it is an older demo.
It
so
is, yeah.
if you are starting something now, I don't think it's worth
No.
putting all of your time into Facebook. It's nice
Right.
to have so that you can put all of your other things in one place, almost like using it as a website. So anybody who wants to see anything you've done, you can share things from Twitter there. You can share things from Instagram there. You can share things from any of the YouTube platforms or whatever
Yeah.
you've been doing. But it's not the place to put all of your time into like
I'm
it used to be.
building my Instagram. I'm the weakest at Twitter, so I can't wait to learn.
Well, we'll definitely be talking about it. LinkedIn, Sean, right before the show, you said,
my
is this a
God,
social
yeah, I
media
didn't
platform?
even think so.
Yeah, it is considered. And I will say that if you are trying to if you are an actor who is trying to come up the ladder via production, this can be really useful for you.
Right.
So if you're trying to see which of your friends work for different companies and
Yeah.
who you know at Netflix and who you know on the more corporate side of things, then LinkedIn can be very useful. It's not as useful for actual performance.
Okay.
Like I've never heard of anybody booking an acting gig off of LinkedIn the way that you've heard off of like an LA Casting Actors Access, Craigslist, any of those things. So,
Right.
but if you're looking for those side jobs, side hustles, this can be really great. And it's just another way to see where your friends are and interact
Right.
with them.
Okay.
Another one, Pinterest. Now,
Pinterest.
Here's why I put this on there. I use Pinterest as an actress all of the time.
And how does an actress use Pinterest?
I use Pinterest because when I'm trying to, if there's a character that I might not fully understand, what they wear, where they would live, what I'm trying to create a backstory for,
Okay.
I will go into Pinterest and I will type in different keywords,
So
right?
you're using it more for research, not necessarily building your brand.
Right.
Okay.
More for research purposes.
All right.
Although some people have built very large brands on there. Again, I don't recommend putting your time there. But as an actor, using social media on all different in all different ways can be very powerful.
That's a very interesting way to use that.
And
would
I
never
find
have
it
thought of
stronger
that.
than Google Image. So
Yeah, okay.
it's just like, sometimes if you get a role like she's a more blue collar person from the 90s. There's so
Right.
many different things
What
you
does
can
that
type
mean?
in,
Yeah.
what that would look like, what they're wearing,
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
So that's how I use Pinterest. YouTube, we already did a few different episodes that would help you with this, but one on creating your own content.
Yes.
YouTube is essential. It's absolutely something that you should be growing. I'm so happy that I almost have 20,000 subscribers because it's not just a place to promote your work.
Yeah.
It is a place to show your work.
Right.
And that's what makes it really different than other social media platforms.
Right.
So YouTube is key, and go check out the episode on making your own content.
Yes,
to
with
see
Doug
what
Van
kind of
Bever,
things
right?
that you should
That's
be putting
one.
on there.
Jason and Talay were on
Exactly.
here. We have several episodes called "Making Your Own Content," Part 1, 2, 3, something like that. Check them out; they're all really important.
So I did just want to take a second to look at the demos for some of these because if you are trying to attract a certain demographic, it's pretty easy to figure out the age group. This is coming from Sprout Social, who did a lot of research on which age groups are looking at which social media platforms.
Okay.
And they're vastly different from each other. So like I said, for Facebook, 76% of people from 18 to 24 years old are using it, but they actually, I looked further into it, and younger than that, it's 51%. So that is a very small amount compared to other social medias, which is why it is an older demo for
What was
social media.
the demo again?
So for 18 to 24, it's 76%.
Okay.
But for under 18, it was 51% from 13.
Okay.
So that was interesting to me. But for most of these, the breakdown from 18 to 24, 25 to 20, 30 to 49, 50 to 64, and 65 plus. By the way, when it says 25 to 20, it means 25 to 30. They just had a typo on here.
Okay.
But these are interesting to see because 90% of 18 to 24-year-olds are using YouTube, which is the highest percentage.
Wow.
So YouTube is going majorly up. And yeah, if you guys want to pause on the screen and take a look at it, then hopefully that'll be helpful. If you guys are over on iTunes or SoundCloud or
iTunes,
wherever,
yeah.
this is heavily out there. You guys can always find demos, but it's just if you're trying to attract a certain demo,
Okay.
then look into that to make sure you know what social media you should be
Got
on.
it.
Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so let's get into it, Sean, because I know you need some help.
I need help. I'm
on some
so
of the social
desperate.
medias, and I'm ready to help you.
Here's the worst thing I do is I literally, it's like I saw, because of SAG Awards, I saw every movie. I had a specific opinion about every of the big movies and the ones, and I knew I should say something. I knew I should put, and I didn't say it at all. Like I
Right.
knew it, I just didn't do it.
Right. I knew it, but I didn't do it.
I knew
think
it,
that a
but I
lot
didn't
of
do it.
people
I think
have
everybody
that.
does that.
And we all do that with different areas. But
Dieting, exercise, all of us, right?
completely. But as actors, there is no more I knew it, but I didn't do it. Then you're really screwing yourself. And when we're in an industry where you have to fight for every inch, I have a lot of actor friends who are not on social media, and they will say, I'm not on social media, but neither is, and they'll call to some A-list celebrity who's not on social media.
Yeah.
That person didn't need to be on social media to come up. They came in a different time. Those bridges are burnt.
Yeah.
We can't take those same paths. They're not there anymore.
They're not
so
there.
you have to do everything you can to be as big as possible. So let's talk a little bit about Instagram and how that differs from different social medias.
Okay.
So a couple different goals you can have on Instagram. One, to make you money. Obviously, like I talked about, we need side hustles, and this can be a great way to make you some money. I'm going to talk about how in a little bit.
Okay.
To show what you look like. This is a great way to show how you look. And as an actor,
Right.
that means that people see how you look. So
All right.
that doesn't mean to look any different than you look. It's just
Right.
a great way to showcase how you look, to show who you are, which we're going to talk about how you do that as well,
Okay.
and to actually book things. So all these things are goals, and we'll talk about exactly how to do that.
Okay.
So just so you guys know what I was talking about earlier, Sean, with Instagram last year, which I know you know because you follow
Yes.
me, I did a thing called 365 Days of Roxy. I had never seen anybody else do this before, but I knew how much I despised Instagram, like Jeff mentioned earlier. And so I decided that I was going to post one picture of myself a day, every single day, in 2019. Okay?
Now, I know other people post one a day. They just never really knew how to spin it or label it like you did. You marketed it
I marked
well.
each one of them like 1 out of 365, 40 out of 365,
Yeah.
whatever day it was.
Yeah.
Which was actually really cool also to see what point in the year we're at. Because usually you don't tend to know what day it is of the year. And I did this for a couple reasons. Number one, everybody says consistency is key.
Okay.
Consistency is key. And what's more consistent than once a day?
That's consistent.
Number two, I thought this would help me get over my fear of Instagram.
Okay.
You just really have to dive in. And number three, again, fighting for every inch. Now I get 365 days to show 365 different sides of myself.
Okay.
So I decided that was going to be my goal. I didn't know how well it would work.
Okay.
And it worked really well.
But why is that different if other people are posting pictures of themselves once a day? Why? What? I'm just trying to figure out why.
People wanted to see my journey. They knew it was my goal of the year, and because I was doing that 1 out of 365, 2 out of 365. People knew every day they could check my account. There would be a new picture. Everybody from my grandmother, who was like, what's picture 36 going to be?
But how does that get more followers then? I guess that's my question.
Because
so those people, I get it.
They know to follow you then. So, like, if you are posting, if somebody hears that you're doing that.
Oh, so it's really the people hearing that you're doing that.
They hear that you're doing that, or you pop up on their Explore page, or the more you're posting, the more favorable you are for the algorithms of the app, so you get seen by people more often.
Okay.
Just more times to be seen by somebody.
Okay.
So it did double my following, which was really great because it took me, I don't know, when did Instagram start? It took me 6-7 years to get 14,000 followers.
Okay.
And then I doubled that in 1 year, which is really huge and put me in a different classification.
It must have been people telling people, right?
No, it's not as much a word of mouth thing. It's more like if somebody comments on something, then you're more likely to go on their friend's Explore page. If somebody likes your picture, you're more likely to go on their friend's Explore page or to pop up.
What's an Explore page?
So on Instagram, there's different things that you can look at, right? There are, like, you can see your own stuff. You can go to see who's liked your stuff. You can post an actual thing. There's a search part that looks like a magnifying glass.
Okay.
And on the search part that looks like a magnifying glass, there's random pictures of people that you do not follow.
Okay.
These are people your friends follow. That based on the app's algorithm, they think you might want to follow.
Okay.
And so you go there more often, the more you post and the more people are engaging in your stuff.
Got it. Okay.
I think related to this too, just hopping quickly, it's the same thing with podcasting. You know, if I'm browsing random podcasts trying to find one I might like, and I see that they release weekly, I'm much more likely to subscribe to that podcast.
Right.
Whereas if they're posting randomly uploading episodes randomly 4 or 5 times a year, I don't trust that podcast.
Interesting.
And,
okay.
And on top of that, Jeff, you would want to listen to the podcast and see that the podcast was something that you liked. So it's the same thing with Instagram.
Okay.
You want to showcase them different parts that they might actually like, reasons that they would come back to it, right?
Right.
So one of the things that I got as advice was picking 3 different things that you really felt like explained who you were. So 3 different words. So those could be, these are not mine, but they could be family, food, and tennis, right? So if that describes you, Sean, like what are a couple of different things that describe you, Sean? Describe, because I know we need help in the social department.
I mean, comedy, creativity.
I think horror, Sean.
Horror,
So
horror,
you
comedy.
would want to post things. Creativity is not really because
too general.
Yeah, but
horror, horror, comedy.
You
Gosh,
could
what
do
am I gonna
cats because you love cats
Yes,
also.
horror, comedy, and my cats.
And your cats, fine. So
Right, that's
your
it.
page, when people come to that, if they know a little bit about what they're going to get, so that could be pictures of you in horror movies. It could be picture of the horror movie you're watching that night. It could be just the scariest thing you saw that week. For
Right.
comedy, it could be a scene from something that you worked on, or you doing a little comedy sketch, or a picture of you watching your favorite comedy and asking people to say what theirs is.
Yeah, I follow Rob Zombie, because he's posed my thing, and he does a lot of stuff from, it's basically his concerts, premieres, and his, directing stuff. But you're right, through the ages, he'll do a lot of, this is us from the first day of A Night of a Thousand Corpses, starting my directorial debut.
People love to see that stuff.
Yeah.
And also,
I have so much of
if
that
you love
stuff,
cats,
too.
which has nothing to do with your career, it's just something you love, people want to know that.
Yeah.
So if you post pictures of your cats, a lot of times people also love cats, and they know, I'm going to go to Sean's page. He usually has pictures of his cats.
Here's a real quick, I have so many cute pictures of my cats and just them being cool together. Would it be weird if my face wasn't in the cats?
No, your face does not always have to be in the pictures. Now, typically they get more...
You did.
That was my goal.
That was
my
your
goal.
face.
My face, 365 Days of
Got
Roxy
it.
was what
Okay.
it was. And typically, pictures do better. Because if you are a person, not a brand, so you're not Amazon, you
Yeah.
are Sean Whalen.
Right.
People want to see Sean Whalen. So you with the cat typically would do better.
Got it.
However, if you get known as being a cat page and you're posting all different types of cats,
Yeah.
then sometimes that can be better. You got to
Got
play
it.
around with it
Yeah.
a little bit. And you have to do this consistently, because if you just post a cat one time and it doesn't get a lot of likes and you say, I'm never posting a cat again,
Got it.
then nobody knows that you post a lot of cats. But this is a way to show who you are. I was talking to Wendy Kurtzman, who's a casting director, and she cast Independence Day, The Runner, a lot of big movies, and she was telling me that she uses Instagram all of the time when she's casting, and that everybody should think of their Instagram as their own personal art gallery. So
Okay.
this is displaying who you are in an art gallery.
Okay.
So that's why you pick the 3 kind of words. It doesn't have to be 3, it could be 4, just anywhere to start, so you're focusing on something where you showcase who you are.
I like that.
So it is supposed to be in those 9 images that I can see when I go to your page. The first 9 images that you see when you go to somebody's page, that's a little art gallery of you.
Got it.
And I always
And
try
I
to
love holidays too, so.
So holidays, you
Yeah.
could be the holiday guy.
Yeah.
And so every time that I look at my own Instagram, I try to make sure in my first 9, which again are usually what you can see depending on which phone you have when you open it up, I try to make sure there's always one of me working. There's always one of me with more than just me, so it doesn't just look like I'm the only person I know and it's just all pictures of me. And then there's always one of me doing something that isn't work. So
Right.
I always try to make sure that there's variety.
Working people and hobbies.
Yeah.
Outside of work.
So those are what I always try to do.
But your hobby outside of work is sleeping. Do you take a lot of pictures of sleeping? Because you work all the time.
Yeah, I know. But I could do some fun things like
no, you do.
Even if it's going to a screening or something that is work,
course.
but like is having a little more fun or having a glass of wine there
and
or whatever.
The appealing thing, Rox, about the way you're framing this is it's kind of like you're telling your own story.
Right.
And
that's the art gallery part of it.
Totally. And a lot of us are resistant to the idea of whoring ourselves out on social media, but we're all storytellers. So I feel like if we reframe our mind to view our Instagram as a narrative opportunity, it's more fun.
Well, it's funny. Bruce Greenwood, very good character actor, been around for years. I know you know who he is. You must know who he is, Bruce Greenwood.
Of course.
And we were talking about this, and he's like, "Oh, I just don't do that. I don't want to curate an image of myself." But he's one of the ones you were talking. He doesn't need it.
Right.
He's so known in town, so respected.
It wouldn't hurt him, but he doesn't need it.
No,
we all do need it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this show, chances are
known and respected in town. But because I have, social media, I posted the Dorothy very funny video that I did, and man, he reached out to me and said, I want to be a part of it if this is a series, or you know what I mean.
Also, Sean, it's interesting to hear you say that word curate, because that is what Wendy Kurtzman kept saying. You're curating your own art gallery.
Right.
This is a curation.
Now, what's the difference between curating? He was saying, well, you're curating this false image. What you're saying is don't curate a false image. No, curate something that you think is...
So we will do general do's and don'ts, but I will just address that right now.
Sure.
Authentic.
Okay.
Across all social medias. You're not... when you're curating, you're not putting out something that isn't you.
Right.
You just have to find the pieces of your art gallery that are really true to who you are, that you want to show.
I like that.
I really liked it when she said that too. The other part of Instagram that can be very helpful is the Instagram stories. Instagram story is where you can have a little more fun. Maybe you took a picture that day that you don't feel like should be on your feed because either you don't look your best or it's a little out of focus or something just makes you think, I don't want this to live forever, but I do want to show people that I'm human. I do weird things. I'm funny. I'm whatever. Could be video, could be image, and you can put that on your Instagram story.
Right.
Instagram story also has a lot of great devices that you can use. If you get above 10,000 followers, there's a swipe up feature that you can use, which means that you can directly put links there to your projects that you're trying to promote, which is incredibly helpful. Also, if you are able to get any kind of sponsorship, you can put a link up to that swipe up, which means you can get paid a lot more.
Okay.
So you want to try to hit that 10,000 mark so that you can get there. And then the moments, the Instagram moments that you see that are archived at the top. They look like those little circles.
Yeah.
Those are a great way to show different parts of your life also. So if you have your 3 words, you probably want to put them there. You want to have a horror moment. So you have all different things from horror up there. You want to have a comedy one. You want to have a cats one. But really, it's also a great place to have your acting reel.
Right.
So that now people don't have to switch over to YouTube to go look at your reel.
And that's in the, where is it? What are you saying?
On Instagram, if you go to the top of
I have it pulled up here as well.
Great, thank you. So if you guys are on podcast, you might want to switch over to either YouTube right now or just go to your Instagram, and there are these little circles, right?
Yes.
So I have, in my circles, I have events, WTF, acting, hosting, vacation, and photo shoots.
Right.
So I put all of those in there so that you can just see there's scenes from some of my acting stuff in there. There's pictures of me on set.
Got it.
And in hosting, there's different, hosting intros that I've just all different stuff put in there. So now I don't have to go to YouTube.
Okay.
It's all right there on my Instagram. So those are great ways to utilize the different parts of Instagram that aren't just stay forever on that front page. And you can move those in and out as you please. They make it very easy to do so.
Okay.
So those are different ways that you can use Instagram to help promote yourself.
Right.
Now, to actually get paid on Instagram, obviously the bigger a following you have, the more likely you are to get a sponsorship or some kind of one-off deal.
Right.
One of the things that I did early on was I started reaching out to companies that I really liked.
Okay.
So one of those companies that I reached out to, Black Milk Clothing, to this day I still work with. And what I asked for, I sent them an email. I went to their website and I sent them an email, cold email. I said, I love your guys' stuff. I would love to promote it on my social media. Mm-hmm. Would you guys mind sending me some pieces?
Right.
And they looked at my social media, which I think at the time had 5,000 followers.
Okay.
And they said, yes, we'll send you one piece at a time. Okay, so they would send one, I would put it on, I would post it, and then they would send me another one.
Right.
That grew to we'll send you dozens of them, and then you can use that and show other companies and start making money. Say, I love your stuff. I would love to post it. This is the kind of engagement I have.
But
These are the kind of,
isn't the payment just the free stuff or no?
Sometimes, but
Okay.
no. After you have more of a following, once you are above 10,000 and can do those swipe ups, sometimes people will say to you, which is that I love when this happens. They'll say, "Great, we'll give you $1,000 for a swipe up with a link to our
Right.
website.
Okay.
If you post in this shirt."
Okay.
And you don't want to do it all of the time because then your social media just becomes a device to.
Yeah.
And you also don't want to do it with products you don't like.
Right.
I would never put something that I did not like there because
Got
that
it.
seems disingenuous. But if it's something that you would like to wear anyway or you like to talk about anyway,
So, like, my cats like certain treats and go nuts for these certain treats. I could reach out to that company and say,
Absolutely.
they go nuts. Here we go. They're going nuts.
Absolutely.
So here's I cut through the mustard. I know this is a weird time maybe to bring it up. I don't know if it messes up your flow. You know, we've talked about this before. You're a young, attractive woman. They're all over Instagram. People will look at those all day long. I am a dorky-looking, middle-aged guy. It's not as easy. It just isn't.
It's
taking
not
a
that it's
picture
not
of
as easy,
yourself
Sean. It's
is going to
different.
be because I see comments sometimes. People go, "Beautiful, gorgeous," blah, 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 you know what I mean? And they don't do that with me.
Well, it's different. What you really need to focus on is, like I said, those 3 areas and your captions. What are you doing to make them interactive? Are you asking a question?
Right.
Are you,
I do a lot
Are
of
you telling
questions,
people
yeah.
to caption this for you?
Yeah.
Are you saying something that is eye-opening for people? Are you saying something really funny that they want to respond to? Are you showing images of your work that they loved? Are you showing the cats and asking who has one at home and what they, all different things?
So you're
to
just
help
saying
with
I
engagement.
can't lean on that as an excuse.
No, because it's not like the only people with big followings on Instagram are young-looking women.
Yeah.
It's just not the case.
Okay.
A lot of those are
No, and
meme sites.
Another thing I thought of in my thing is the hustle. The hustle.
Hustle.
I love talking, showing that I'm taking a meeting, showing that I'm doing this, showing
and it just
that
makes you look more desirable when people go to if a casting director goes and sees that you've taken 3 meetings that week, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we want Sean."
Got it.
And that's how that works. I have more
right.
things on Instagram, but we'll have to do a part 2 for that at some point
Yes.
because we got to get to Twitter, guys. Twitter is a huge one, especially for comedians. If you are a comedic actor or a stand-up or somebody in the comedy space, Twitter is essential. It's also great for all actors across the board, but especially for comedians.
Yeah, this is
the
my
goals
worst.
here also to make you money, to show what you care about, to be funny or poignant, and to help you book things, again, especially as a comedian.
Right.
Sometimes people get straight up jobs in writers' rooms, or they always will look at you. And for Twitter, if you're going out for something, SNL, like, these big places to see what you're tweeting about. And people have gotten jobs just based on their Twitter
Wow.
before. So make sure that your Twitter accurately represents you. I gained 10,000 followers on my Twitter last year, guys.
Wow.
10,000 because I was super consistent with it. Tried to at least do 1 original tweet a day.
Okay.
So by original, I don't mean promoting something. I mean sharing how I feel or my view on something.
Right.
And because you cannot click links on Instagram, so on Instagram in your caption, you can't put a link there that's clickable. This is what makes Twitter so valuable because you can promote your stuff on Twitter in a clickable link, which
Got
you
it.
cannot do on Instagram
Okay.
except in your bio.
Okay.
So Twitter is really great for that. A couple quick tips for Twitter for when you are tweeting out. You want to make sure you're not starting with the blue. So what that means is, and you don't want to end with the blue. So anything blue would be a hashtag, at somebody. So when you're mentioning somebody's names
Okay.
or a link.
Okay.
If you're posting a link, they've done a ton of studies about the fact that if you see any of those things first or last, somebody is being promotional, so you kind of just your eyes move past it.
Got it.
Also, if you start with their name, it only goes to that person. It doesn't go to everybody, so nobody's able to actually see that.
Got it.
So you want to make sure that you don't start or end with blue. Same thing with Instagram. Pick a few things you care about,
Right.
and make sure that you're up to date on them. And mainly tweet about those things. So now I'll take it to myself. For me, television, DC Comics, cannabis.
Okay.
Things I'm super duper passionate about, right?
Okay.
So if there's big TV news, I'm tweeting about it. If something new happens in the cannabis space, I'm tweeting about it.
Okay.
If DC makes a big announcement, I'm tweeting about it. So
Right.
people know when they come to, if something happens in DC, if there is an announcement about some Batman thing, they will look for my name now because they know I'm tweeting about this.
Okay.
And also, the more you tweet about the same kind of thing, the more likely you are to pop up in Twitter Moments, which is where you really can get a lot of likes and comments because Twitter then is promoting your tweet, and then everybody else can see that in the moments.
Right. I
Always,
was going to do a movie review thing, but then people were like, do not do a movie review thing because it's not smart for your business to, like, what if you don't like a movie?
so
you know what I mean?
I try
don't put
I
that
try to
out
steer
there.
away from movies I dislike.
Yeah.
I do talk a lot about movies, but I don't think it's as fun to not be positive about something.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
try
yeah.
to specifically talk about the things that I like.
Right, right.
And also, if you're trying to hire somebody and you go to their thing and they're very negative, is that really the person you want on set?
No, not
So
at all.
positive is the way to go if you can. But, your things could be, and not yours, Sean, but could be politics.
Yeah.
Your things could be...
See, I tell all my actors, please don't do politics. I say politics, religion, divisive topics. It's just show that you can work with anybody.
I don't agree. I think
Okay.
be who you are.
Okay.
Be who you are. That doesn't mean you have to put down anybody else.
Right.
But stand up for the things you believe in if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
If it takes up too much of your brain capacity and you can't focus on your actual performance, then don't. But if you really believe, and everything's political today, but if you really believe in standing up for climate change, there's nothing wrong with being somebody whose Twitter has a lot of updates on climate change and how people can help and what they can do and tips and tricks and anything like that. So tips and tricks, speaking of which, do very well. But what does the best on Twitter are jokes and poignant things. So
Okay.
when you're thinking about a tweet, either it's funny or it's meaningful.
Meaningful, give me an example. I know it's funny.
So poignant would be, the other day on MLK Day, somebody tweeted out saying that a lot of people think that it was a different time with MLK, but actually MLK would be the same age as Barbara Walters and Anne Frank today if she was still alive. This is still in our time.
Right.
Right? They were all born in 1929.
Okay.
So that's poignant thinking
Okay.
about that. That's not funny. But it makes you think. It makes it's meaningful. It's moving. It makes you think about the fact that MLK was not that long ago.
Right.
And it's relatable. People hear that, they see that. So that's something that would be poignant.
Okay.
If you're looking at the hashtags and you see something you have a strong take on, that's a great time to tweet. So if it says hashtag MLK and you know that fact, you're like, oh, wow, this is trending right now. People will see it if I use that hashtag. I should write this with that hashtag.
Okay.
Or, Sean, if there's a movie that you have a really interesting take on that's funny, or say, I don't know, that you loved something that most people didn't like and it's trending. So say you loved, the movie that I loved was Life Itself, okay? Nobody else, this is 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. If that's trending, then I write my hot take on it.
Right.
The rest of you guys must be crazy because so many people. I'll tell you afterwards.
All
okay, the best, biggest stars ever. It's the greatest movie of all time. It's a Dan Fogelman movie.
Okay.
So those are some things you can do. Make sure you're looking at the hashtags because that's really what's going to help you.
Okay.
And also, media works really well on Twitter. Twitter videos, GIFs, images.
Got it.
First of all, these make your tweet bigger. So when somebody's scrolling through their timeline, they have more of an opportunity to like your tweet because it's actually taking up more space. So it's smart to put media.
Now, what about the picture that you use on Instagram? Could you use it on Twitter?
It's better to post it on Twitter than to share it from Instagram to Twitter where it doesn't exist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you share it from Instagram to Twitter, if you just click share,
it
will go to Twitter as a link, but you won't actually see the image.
Got it.
So you want to put the actual image. And yes, I do that all the time where I'll take the same image and I'll post it in 2 different places.
Okay.
And that works. So definitely media helps. You have to do more than just promote on Twitter. It can't just be a place that you're promoting everything. You need to make sure that you're actually putting original tweets.
Yes.
And also, just in a final note on Twitter, the point of Twitter is to talk about what you see and how you see it.
Okay.
Not what you look like.
Okay.
This is what I see in the world, and this is how I see it.
Roxy, I truly believe we need a part 2.
I know. We need a part 2.
We didn't go
tons
into
of do's and
this as a
don'ts.
part 2 because I do want to talk about the do's and don'ts, and I do want to talk about like my experience and what
And
I'm
you have
doing.
other questions.
And I have other questions and things like that. I would love to just do a part 2 with this. We have a little more breathing room and
Yes,
do that.
I would love
and
to
I wanna
also.
talk about how when I get on a set, how I'm allowed to use social media and things like that. So I would love to follow this up.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Can we do it next week?
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
All right.
As long as Jeff says yes, he's the boss.
Jeff is the boss.
I'm on the edge of my seat, and I would
I
love
know.
a part 2.
Me too.
Guys, I have some crazy do's and don'ts that would blow your mind.
That'll blow your mind.
Next
Guys,
week, part
we're
2.
going to have to do a part 2. Roxy, where can we find you on social media?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer, which is also essential that it's everywhere, and I'll explain why next time.
Mr. Fantabulous.
Unfortunately, I have 2 different social media handles.
Me too.
I'm a bad example.
I know.
Twitter is Jeffrey C. Graham. Instagram is Jeffrey Crane Graham. Find me on both of those.
I am on Instagram at Sean Whalen Official and on Facebook at Sean Whalen Actor. So we'll get better, Roxy. We apologize. As always, thank you for letting me, and this week, thank you for letting us be part of your journey.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.